You've seen people walking around Unicampus wearing Apple Vision? Is that out now? Wait, are people wearing those now? Apple Vision Pro? Oh my God, you can actually get them now. I remember seeing when they were announced. You see them walking with those? Yikes. It's very cool. I've watched some of the demonstrations. I love the idea of it, but wearing it outside sounds crazy. You'd rather get an extremely good earpiece? I think we were chilling with having the phone on you, and if you want to have a smartwatch, having a smartwatch, right? Instead of bringing up a HUD, you have a tiny screen on your wrist, and it vibrates the watch briefly to let you know that you just got a text, and you can look at it, see the text, and then use speech to text to answer or whatever. Like, I think that's like good enough. Just make the watches better. I don't think we need the HUD in front of us. Although it's really cool. Like, I'm actually really down for futuristic shit. I just always hate it when it's in its early phases and it's like not good yet. And I know things will get good. When they started, I remember when they first released the iPhone and people had apps on the phone and they were like, yeah, applications, apps, instead of just a phone with a browser. Because before that, if you had internet on your phone, big if, you would just pull up a browser and it would try its best to crunch a web page down. People didn't make mobile versions of their web pages yet. So it was just shitty. So Apple's like, oh, we have apps now. And I remember when it first came out being like, I'm sure one day this will be big, but right now I don't feel the need to get this because what am I going to use this for? Who's even making these apps right now? Like, it's so early. It's this big brick of a phone. I just don't see the point. So I didn't get one when it first released, you know? But then once it got good, I was like, okay, hell yeah. And I feel like that's probably what's going to happen with this, right? Like the wearables going in the glasses or HUD UI kind of route. I feel like we're getting there. We're going to get there eventually. It's just going to take a really long time because I think right now it's probably hardware limitations, right? Like having a battery that can keep this on and working all the time, having the processing power somewhere in the device, right? Like where if they wanted to basically be capable of doing what a computer does, well, then it needs to compute things. And if it's not computing it in the device itself, then it means it needs to essentially be like like your team viewering into your own PC or whatever the fuck, right? Maybe it just runs a singular app and all the computing is actually done by a device at home and it's just projecting that to you or something. Maybe, but then there's latency and delay. Now it has to have a really good connection to work. But we don't have 5G all over every aspect of the country, every building, every, you know, square inch. So, you know, they're just like all these things where it's like not going to be there yet. But I feel like eventually it will. So I'm excited to see it get good. But right now it's real shitty. I think the moments when HUDs would be most useful would actually be when people are driving. Having things be displayed in front of them so that they don't have to look down at instrumentation so much. And you know, having things appear that are visually overlaid in front of what they're seeing. Instead of looking down at your GPS to see where it's trying to tell you to turn, imagine looking at the road. The device you're wearing recognizes where those things are and then draws a line like your GPS does on the road and goes, go this way, merge here, you know, stuff like that. I think would probably be one of the better uses for it, but also like everything that we currently have works just fine. So it would just be if they fucking need it, I don't know. If they want it, I guess. Like, it only takes like a 0.1 seconds to look down at your instrumentation, so like, you don't need it, right? Like, for me, I know some people are not into self-driving cars. They're like scared of it, or they're like, just fucking drive, asshole, or, you know, whatever people think about it. Personally, I would love if everyone had self-driving cars and the self-driving were really good, because I'm tired of people driving and getting into crashes. I can't wait for it to eventually be that most people rely on self-driving so that they stop fucking driving like shit. You stopped using it in your Tesla after it tried to exit you off a bridge. Yeah, I think you can let some other people be like, you know, the first penguin pushed off the iceberg, the ice floe to test out the self-driving. It's one of those things where I'm like, eh. But I mean, the way the self-driving, because one of my friends has one, and she was saying the self-driving works really well for her, but there's a caveat. You have to have two things happening. You have to have your hands on the wheel, and you have to have your eyes looking forward at the road. And the car is checking for that constantly, because you need to be able to override it in case it does do something weird. So she was saying that, like, when she turns hers on, if she has her hands on the wheel and she like looks to the side and talks for too long to someone or something, it will be better and be like, look forward, or it'll start turning off the self-driving. It'll warn her that's going to do that because she's not looking forward. So I think that's good. I think that's good if it's not like, if the tech isn't there yet. Some people get really stressed by driving in traffic, like really fucking stressed. And if they don't have to, they found that if people don't have to actively drive, if they're just laying there in traffic just watching it, they're way less stressed and angry about it than if the car's like, you know, if they have to do it themselves, rather. It gets rid of that annoyance, which lowers a lot of road rage, lowers the chance of people making really stupid decisions to do weird fucking merges and stuff because they're, you know, they're not angry. They're just sitting there watching. So I thought that was actually like an interesting data point. But I want it to be good enough eventually that people actually can rely on it a lot more. And then, you know, people can just stop manually driving a lot of them. There are plenty of people that are fine with it, and there are also just so many people that are not. Like, whenever I've been on the road, I've never been scared of driving. I've never been scared of getting into a crash because I did something. I just don't trust other people, you know?